Brandy Senki. This is a band who I have given quite a lot of hype to. I've got to be honest, they're a band who I initially discovered through, I can't even find it now. Oh, here we go, Last Live. I think a lot of people discovered them through Last Live, but then just sort of looking through their pages I was today, because I've heard a few of their songs, and I've got to be honest, this is a band who I'm kind of want to hear more by, actively want to hear more by. But having a look through, they had a couple of songs from a few years ago that were even more popular than Last Live, despite the fact that that's the song that obviously caught a lot of attention online, I think. But I was just sort of strolling through, having a little guess at which one I would listen to, and I saw this song called Nightmarish, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give that one a try, just because something about. Oh, so I've got this air conditioner in this hotel room. It's sporadic at best. It's going to be noisy, and occasionally it's going to beep and go crazy. I don't know if you heard that. But anyway, the song Nightmarish, I don't know, just something about the fact it's called Nightmarish made me think, I can't imagine what a nightmarish song would sound like by this band. Although, I think they are very good at crafting atmosphere. So I am looking to catch up on a lot of Brandy Senki. If you guys are interested, I'll do it in the form of reaction videos. Otherwise, if there's not many people interested, then I'm just going to binge it and listen to it myself, because I'm really enjoying this band. But yeah, this is Nightmarish by Brandy Senki. I want to give it a little listen. And then, as I say, if people are enjoying it, I might move on to some of the more popular songs as well. But let's give Nightmarish a listen. Again, a band who, in my opinion, managed to do the kind of subtle, chilled out style of, not over the top, quite calm kind of rock music. But they do it with this really great sense of atmosphere every single time. So I'm always excited to see what they have to offer up. Right, let's check out Nightmarish then. This came out about a year ago, so about the same time as Last Live, I believe. Straight in with the Sims. Ooh, very shoegazy. Well, I like that. Okay, we're going. It's a little bit dark punk. Nice chilled start. Definitely got a bit of an 80s vibe right down to that bass line. And the guitar's just kind of doing the sort of funky strum, and the bass is like bouncing between those little bits of pumping and those little bits of walking like the octave. This is just more of a groove, Loving the sort of bass energy on the kick drum as well. A simple mixture between the kicking on the guitar and the bass line. All the wind sounds. Oh, the atmosphere. Spot on. That's interesting. That was quite cool, switching to the heavy sound just for a few bars. And then the backing vocals come in and fill in that space. floor with the drums there. Back to the heavy sound. That's a cool little choice of guitar sound there. I like how that switches. And this bit is like the chorus is over and everything. They're just kind of keeping the groove going. It's such a nice groove. Okay. That was interesting. This is the kind of song that is like. Let's put the credits on the screen. This is the kind of song which is the reason why I want to hear more by bands like Brandy Senki, even when it's going back to older songs rather than covering their newest releases, like I try to usually do. Some bands I'm just like, I want to hear more by them, and I think I could do it on my own, but it's nice to share it with you guys. And this is the sort of one where I feel like it's a very rewarding listen, because this is one of those songs where, is it like my new favourite Brandy Senki song? Do I think it's a killer single with like a bloody air conditioner? Do I think it's a killer single with like a super catchy hook? It's not that, but it's a song that I really enjoyed in a very different way, and I'm glad they put it out with a music video. I'll try and talk about the music video in a minute. I'll try and remember to. But from a musical standpoint, this kind of nailed those two things that I think I really love about this band, or at least I feel like are the things I'm most excited about with them. First and foremost, just the fact that they managed to do songs that are so chilled out and yet keep them sounding interesting. Shut up, air conditioner. I am literally pressing nothing. It is doing all this stuff itself. Anyway, as I was saying, I hope you can hear those beeps. Otherwise, it's just going to look like I'm crazily looking in the corner. But that thing is, I don't know what's going on. So they managed to keep their sort of songs in this chilled out. They keep their songs in this chilled out space, but whilst they're doing it, there's always some sort of progression. It's never something where you're left to sort of feel bored, as some of the more chilled out bands sometimes will do. And at the same time as well, they have this amazing ability to imbue their songs with a sense of atmosphere. There's always a feeling that something interesting is kind of like you've been transported to an interesting place. So first off, we look at what this song's doing musically to keep the whole thing churning along. We start off with that very sort of nice, simple, funky rhythm, which is using kind of the tried and true method where the guitar is just so dum, 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 just playing the chord pattern with a little bit of bounce, and underneath you've got the bass, which again is just sort of boom, 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 bouncing, but adding the little bits where it moves around, and just walking in between to give a little bit of breaking up to the the whole rhythm, the whole funk. Drums as well, nice sort of simple rhythm, just kind of holding it together. And you put those three things together, and you've got this sort of funky rhythm, but just enough little breaks from the bass and just a little bit of personality in the drums that just kind of keeps it sounding fresh and interesting, and much more like a human kind of piece of musicianship than just a looped backing. The vocals, as always, she delivers this sort of lovely chilled out style of singing, but she doesn't veer into that area of sounding just like a lazy singer who's just singing tiredly, like some of the bands who I usually dislike in this space. She's got a voice that sounds just much more like it's sort of jazzy and calm and kind of a bit breathy, but actually singing properly. And so as a result, I just found her singing really on top of that backing. You come in straight. Oh, seriously. All right. This is the air conditioner. It's just switching itself on and off and on and off. This hotel is broken. Anyway, where was I? The frustration of dealing with cheap hotels. So I'm going to boil for the rest of this, but I'll keep on talking until I do. It's very hot air. I'll keep on talking till I boil. So it manages to keep the arrangement really interesting, but it progresses obviously into its choruses, and then you have that interesting bit in the bridge where it suddenly goes a little bit heavy, which I thought was a really cool little moment there. But it was just, all it really was just the guitar switching from that kind of funky, sharp, bouncing sound into a slightly more heavy sound for a few seconds. Might have been before this point, actually. I think it's where, might be where that peak is in the listening. There it is. You notice how it's just that, and then when that falls away, the backing vocals come in. The way those backing vocals sort of come into, subtly, you wouldn't even notice it straight away, but they come in to take over from the harsh sound of that electric guitar, which is just there for a few bars and then appears at the end. All these little changes that keep on coming in, but none of them sort of like massively shake the train off of the track, so to speak. You know, they give you like interesting twists and turns, but nothing that sort of totally takes you out of the flow of what is basically a funky song that, if it was written more lazily, could just be kind of your standard funky disco 70s song where it just loops forever, but is written with so much more intelligence that it feels like a song that is interesting throughout, rather than just relying on, hey, we came up with one funky thing and now we're going to repeat it over and over again. I love that. I love the fact that they've taken a formula that is so simple, but imbued it with so much more interest and development. Now, I must say as well, that obviously plays into the bit at the end where the last chorus just keeps going. And at that point, they do just let it kind of go around and add the loud guitar back and everything, because why not? At that point, you got to the end, milk the final chorus is fine, because they built up to it. I will say as well, the atmosphere was beautifully conveyed. I mean, as I mentioned, you've got those backing vocals, which are really good at adding kind of a bit of a sort of eerie feeling underneath. Those backing vocals add so much to the sound so gently. But of course, even the beginning, we came in with that kind of like very atmospheric synth sound. So there's a lot of these long-held atmospheric sounds, and even if they're not throughout the entire song, just their presence kind of really sets up it's like a shorthand for what the feeling is, what the tone of the song is supposed to be. And you put that together with a video that, I got to be honest, I thought the video was really cleverly done. Again, simple, kind of like you have the room, kind of like the translucent room, and you've got the lights on the outside, and just changing the color of the lights changes the room. Some nice sort of wide angle lenses moving around. You got everyone in the band wearing kind of slightly pale colors and everything, so the light of the room can have more of an interesting effect. It's very cool. Very simple, very cool. Yeah, I liked everything about how this was done. And of course, I say all these compliments, but I come back to what I was saying at the beginning, which is, ironically, I'm glad they put this out. I'm glad they put this out with such a cool music video that really suits it. But at the same time, this doesn't at all feel like a single. This is not the sort of song that's going to get stuck in my head. It's not the sort of song which necessarily stands out as being, wow, that's like their number one interesting thing. It's just a fairly chilled, simple song executed very well. I guess it's one of those songs where if you're in the mood for it, 100% it's going to be the one you dive for. If you want something a bit chilled out and atmospheric, this would be a go-to song for me. But it's not the song sort of song you immediately think of as I have to throw that one on. It's more the sort of song that I would think of as, I can't wait to hear this on the album, because in a playlist, I bet this is a really awesome song to just sort of fill the development of an album. So anyway, there you go. As always, those are my thoughts. Get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these, when that bloody air conditioner's fixed. For now, ciao, ciao.